Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on Hbar. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about Hbar. I'm going to start with this. Why the unbanked in Europe don't use crypto for daily payments. Oh, the unbanked are not using crypto. Monique Morrow, co-founder of the Swiss nonprofit The Humanized Internet, told me in an interview. Morrow added that the ID problem is the biggest barrier. Crypto exchanges and trading platforms, just like banks, require government-issued IDs for Know Your Customer compliance processes. Unbanked people often do not have passports to meet those KYC requirements. In short, crypto companies and banks often have same limitations when it comes to serving the unbanked. Now, Hedera has a solution with this, and I think it's going to lead to digital IDs, which we'll talk about more later in this video. But, you know, a lot of other crypto companies are banking the unbanked as well. Look at Stellar and XLM. How Hedera's unique features and Hbar are attracting creators and challenging Ethereum's leaders. One unique feature that makes Hedera stand out is its three services: EVM-compatible smart contracts, token service, and consensus service, which offer greater flexibility than Ethereum. Another unique feature of Hedera is its governance structure. The network is governed by up to 39 global organizations and top universities, including IBM and Dell, who run the initial nodes in the network and approve the code base deployed on the nodes. This governance model builds trust and transparency, assuring users that the network is being run by trusted organizations, unlike other networks where it's unclear who is in charge. That was a complete slam towards Ethereum. And you know, when you take a look at that governing council, that makes you always want to buy more Hbar. But I'm also going to show you in this video why it's important to the banks. And I think we're going to see a lot more banks come on board with Hbar and Hedera. But Ethereum, on the other hand, they're already losing, you know, projects. I see it happening on other networks as well. XDC just picked up another project from Ethereum. Hbar has in the past as well, and they're going to continue to leave Ethereum over time for a much better network. Unleashing the power of Web3, Hedera leading the charge in enterprise integration. Standing at the junction of the conventional Web 2 and the untapped potential of Web 3, enterprises encounter complex challenges while planning their transition. Hedera, a distinguished decentralized public ledger, is illuminating this path, aiding businesses to successfully integrate with Web 3. Hedera's platform is adeptly engineered to cater to enterprise requisites, boasting attributes such as swift transactions, minimal fixed charges, and enhanced security. Furthermore, it nurtures a dynamic ecosystem of partners and developers, a valuable resource for businesses striving to build and deploy Web3 applications. It looks like Hedera is going very big. They want to bring a lot more enterprise on board. And as that continues to happen, it's going to bring more value to Hbar. But again, we're still early into crypto, and people still don't understand that. Nothing is built in a day. Everything is building and growing, but we're not quite to where we are going yet. In other words, the fourth industrial revolution is here, and a lot of things still have to happen. Dr. Lehman Baird on decentralized governance. Take a listen to this.
Lehman, I see you just ready to jump in. Go for it.
Well, I always like to talk, but that's fine. But no, I think this is important. So you mentioned two things, is that it's about the mechanisms. We don't have to worry about how we counted the votes or whatever. It's just built into the chain. You have on-chain governance. That is important. It enables it to be trustworthy in that sense. But more important is that you don't have a dictator. You have guaranteed, or at least it should be guaranteed, separation of power. And so you have checks and balances between different people on each other. And decentralized governance is moving away from having a single person who has officially all the power or even unofficially all the power. You really want to make sure that it is separated, and you don't want to have 1,000 people voting, but only 3 of them have all the weight. That's not decentralized governance. Decentralized governance is where the actual ability to make things happen is spread out.
You know, that decentralized governance is the reason we're going to see a lot of enterprise choose Hedera even into the future. Hedera's partner, Idemia Group, is working with Bank of England on a groundbreaking CBDC solution. The word groundbreaking already hints at the tech being built on Hedera. We're proud to be working alongside with the Bank of England in a groundbreaking project exploring new approaches to assure identity, privacy, and offline payments in the designs of CBDCs. We're going to see a lot of countries, a lot of banks choose Hedera. We'll talk more about that here. So when you pick long-term investments, investigate the technology stacks that our best companies in the world are planning to use. Hedera has over a dozen Fortune 500 companies currently building on their platform. It's a no-brainer. Take a listen to the ANZ Bank.
And that's one of the biggest issues we have in public blockchains is who do I go for recourse? Who do I go for enforcement of smart contracts? Who do I go to? You know, who do I call? And that's the tough part. And so I think that some of these networks will evolve into more sophisticated, self-governing, transparent governance blockchains and networks. And one we're very interested in, I'll just say it out loud, is the Hedera network because of the number of the very few nodes that it has, but they're all run by kind of Fortune 500 names, and that to us is transparent governance, and we understand who's hosting nodes, and so it's almost like this sort of permission to public blockchain. It's got all the benefits of public speed, transparency, and efficiency, but it's got this sort of governance layer around it. And increasingly, as a bank, we're attracted, like some other banks have already joined that network and host nodes, to that type of configuration, because I think that's equally what will bust some anxiety within the regulatory community.
So that's coming from the second largest bank in Australia. And did you take notice how he's talked about transparency and Fortune 500 companies? And he's talking about that decentralized governance as well. And I think a lot of other banks are going to choose Hedera in the future. It's a group working together as it's probably the other major contender for Bank of England. Both MTech Inc. and Idemia Group are closely partnered with Hedera for CBDC solutions. And you see 5 integrated with the best CBDC solution providers. And you see Ripple is on there as well. And I still think Ripple and Hedera will work together in the future, most likely around CBDCs. Remember, Hedera transaction costs are in USD to be paid in equivalent Hbar. Therefore, if you are a Web3 builder planning to build on Hedera, it makes sense to stack up some Hbar at these low prices. Play the game smart. And you know, when you look at the fees and you see how Hedera pushes the Hbar token, I like the idea of that, because that's how me and you get rich in the future. You know, I make Stellar videos around XLM, and Stellar seems to always be pushing USDC. Why don't they just call it Stellar USDC at this point instead of Stellar XLM? You know, that's one thing I really, really like about Hedera, though. They utilize the token. Hedera is proud to have contributed to the Reimagining Digital ID Insight Report published by the World Economic Forum, providing analytical frameworks, tools, and recommendations regarding decentralized ID technology, policy, governance, and implementation. Now, somebody actually sent this to me, and I don't like the idea of digital ID at all. And I definitely don't like the World Economic Forum. It's definitely an evil entity there. I make great reset videos. And they said to me, how do you feel about this? And I said, you know, listen, I'm going to still keep my Hbar. It's my one shot to get rich in the future. And I don't think anybody should sell their Hbar because it's tied in with the World Economic Forum. It doesn't make sense. If that's the case, stop using your Apple phone. Stop getting gas at certain gas stations, because there's so many companies tied in with the World Economic Forum. And most likely Hedera's tied in there pretty good because of the governance council, the governing council members, because they're also partners of the World Economic Forum. A lot of them are. But again, I don't like digital IDs, but we've seen at the beginning of this video how it would help bank the unbanked. And if you listen to the World Economic Forum, they said you're going to need it in the future to access everything, unless somebody comes in and puts a stop to it before it even gets started. But every single country is pushing for this at this point. So why not stay invested in what's going to make you money? So then there's asset tokenization, and I'm going to talk about this because I think tokenization is going to be the biggest thing to hit crypto in the future. So you see types of asset tokenization: tangible, real estate, machinery, art, vehicles, livestock, commodities. It's going to be anything of value around you. You will be tokenizing it in the future. Then you see intangible, intellectual property, services, credits, ownership. You're going to be tokenizing your medical records in the future. That's how big this is going to become. Financial, stocks, bonds, dividend payments, funds, payments. You'll be tokenizing everything. But I want to point out how real-world asset tokenization discourages bad actors. Buy side, bad actor. I'm going to trash this car and get repairs on warranty. I want to trade this back in after 2 years. I'm not going to report any damage I do to it. Sell side, bad actor. I'm not going to tell the buyer that this car has a rough history. I don't want the buyer knowing where I got this car from. I don't want the buyer knowing about my dodgy reputation. So it's going to keep everybody honest in the future, because everything about that item will always be made public information. Think about it. If you own a house and you had a flood and you cleaned up the house, still that fact that flood happened will be public knowledge for the next person that buys that house. That's where we're headed into the future. The one thing I don't like about this is if you live in a community, right, and the trees are tokenized, which they're talking about already, and you want to cut a tree down, most likely you're going to have to pay an offset fee, and you're going to have to pay for that tree, even though it's on your property. I could see things going in that direction. But tokenization, again, you want to invest in whatever cryptocurrencies are tied to that, because I think that's going to be a multi-trillion dollar industry in the future. But with that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.